Hey folks, how you doing? Leo Naranjo, the fourth candidate for governor in the 2026 election. Oh my. Oh my. So much has happened. So much has happened. First of all, thank you for the well wishes on the safe drive back from San Diego. Yeah, I'm a little scruffy, haven't gotten there yet. Don't worry about it. It'll be gone another few hours. Wife and I had a nice safe trip. LA traffic sucks. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing down there, but whew. Traffic was horrible, added probably another hour to our drive, but we made it back safe and sound, so I can talk smack one more time and bring some of you up to speed with the smack that I talk. Where to start? Oh my God, where to start? It's so much. There's an old saying, and it goes like this. You can lose a vote, or you can lose an election by one vote. Y'all heard that nonsense before? One vote cost you one vote. We lost by 20 votes. We lost by one vote. It was close. Football games. I know there's some sports enthusiasts out there. Hey. What happened in the Super Bowl? Lost by 1 point. Missed a field goal. Lost by 1 point. Could have tied the game. Lost by 1 point. Basketball overtime. Far three-point shot. Poof! Won by 1 point. Lost by 1 point. See where I'm going with this, ladies and gentlemen? Elections are the same way. You can win an election by 1 point, or you can lose an election by 1 point. This is for you arrogant people out there with the condescending viewpoint that people not of your ilk don't matter. Keep thinking that when your guy or gal loses their ass off in election by that 1 point. Because you probably stepped on somebody that you thought was insignificant, and they took it to task and remembered who you are and who you represent. Again, back to the Hilton campaign of the convention we just had in San Diego. Leo Zacky commanded 104 votes. I commanded 10. You would have had 614 delegates. Had you spoke to us in any way, shape, or form, something of a conversation that resembled respectful, courteous, and open and honest, instead of a sale BS, I'm holier than thou mentality. But shame on Leo, because he wasn't even there at the convention, so that doesn't matter. Bianco, no different. At least he was polite enough to say thank you for the people who voted for him, unlike Steve, who basically told all of you to get effed when he put out that little post 2 hours later that said, time to coalesce behind the leader, that's me, and get behind the endorsement that really matters. He's referring to the one from Trump. Not going to hash about that feeling. Chad Bianco had the endorsement, lost the endorsement because of that. Steve Hilton thought he was supposed to get the endorsement. He didn't. Now we have people making excuses. The surrogates are coming out of the woodwork. Oh my God, Steve, Chad Bianco won the popular vote. Oh, the popular vote. The popular vote. What the hell is a popular vote from a convention voting process, people? You got a number of votes. Hold that thought. Steve Hilton got a number of votes, disparaged twice in the same process. Woohoo! No, 3 times. The rich guy, the one that has everything, the surrogates, the money, the backing, the power, the influence, the TV stuff. Let me break this down for you arrogant people out there. Steve Hilton got embarrassed 3 times in the same voting process. How bad is that? Leo, you didn't get anything. I didn't get embarrassed either. Steve Hilton, Chad Bianco, and myself got participation trophies. Oh, they paid much more for theirs, but we got the same trophy, got the same award. None of us got endorsed. In a word, or a couple of words, we lost the endorsement. Steve Hilton's 3 strikes on him. First off, you didn't get endorsed. Second off, You got no votes close enough to even challenge for a recall. And thirdly, you got less than Chad Bianco in the voting process. You expected a win because of your Trump endorsement. Dude, have you looked online lately? That's a form letter that's being passed around to certain people that ask for one. Hell, minus the Trump date stamp, I've got one too that I've posted online, just to show you the nuance of how easy those can be obtained. He's a great man. He's got my full confidence. Leo Naranjo for governor. But I put us on pod for Chad Bianco because Chad Bianco's people thinks that he got a popular vote. He got the most popular vote getting ever seen. This is what we call spin, ladies and gentlemen, the BS of how to turn an optic to a positive or a negative depending on which way you look at it. To me, it's games. I love games. Let's play. Let's play games. Steve Hilton only got about 440 some odd votes. Chad Bianco got about 496 some odd votes. Not enough. You lost, buddy. Don't care what you call it, you lost. But the most embarrassing thing is, and some of you people are going to really hate me for saying it because it's going to stick in somebody's mind to think about. How many times have we seen and heard, I don't want to vote for that person, I'm going to vote for this person to reject him or her? I didn't vote for Bob, I voted for Sally because I don't like Bob. You haven't heard that? You haven't seen people do that in an election process? I don't like the Republican candidate, so I voted no party preference. Safe vote, doesn't matter. Who cares? I know it's happened, and you know it's happened. And people understand it happens. Since we're playing games, let's play a game. Chad Bianco got 494 votes were the delegates. Did they go for him, or were those votes rejecting Steve Hilton? And the same thing can be said of Steve Hilton. Did the 440 votes that he got go for him, or were those votes rejecting Chad Bianco? It's not outside the realm of possibility. You'd have to pry apart who voted for who based on why they voted. But that's a potential of what if isms. Did you actually get 496 votes, Chad? Or were those people pissed off that they voted for you as opposed to Steve just to deny him the opportunity to get his coveted endorsement? Same for you on the Hilton campaign. Did they vote for Hilton, or were they denying you the opportunity to get an endorsement? Falls both ways. Ooh, my. Hadn't thought about that one, have you? Some embarrassing things happen when you lose. How do you react? I got a participation trophy. I did not expect to go anywhere in that election because of how the rules were laid out. You can't speak unless you get 200 delegates. Well, the 300 that never showed up, that's a big change. Looks like somebody skewed the count so that you could lower the threshold and squeeze somebody through the front door. My. That's a realm of possibility too. Because the list said 1,511 delegates, but only 1,129 cast ballots. What happened to the near 400 that are missing? There should be some ramifications happening to them, like being removed as delegates. Kicked off the listing, they should. Why not? Had an assemblyman tell me not only was he not going to be there, he was not going to cast a vote for anybody, and then hung up the phone. Poof. That was an assemblyman. He was a Republican. Of course he was a Republican. He's a delegate on the list. But he wasn't going to vote for anybody. Oh my. Some people weren't going to come down to the convention because they were living in Northern California and it was too far to travel. So they weren't going to vote for anybody. Nor were they going to give up proxies. Oh my. Hadn't thought about that, had you? Now, we were supposed to have a decorum in this convention of things that we could do, not do, and everything else. Other than that, I guess making speeches in the hallways was all right because somebody did treasurer candidate Serpa. Crossed my mind, hey, I could stand by one of the podiums, make a little space, and start handing out speeches, start making statements, start being loud, a little unruly to get people's attention, to swarm around me and to see what was going on. The problem is Corinne Rankin is not in my hip pocket like she supposedly is to David Serpa, who's expressed that numerous times. That's his go-to girl. If I'd have done that, I believe I would have been escorted off the site. So I didn't do that. I spoke to who I spoke in the professional mannerisms in which I did. He made speeches in the middle of the hallway. Had another candidate was going to pass out some literature, and I cautioned him prior to doing that. Go back, pray on that, think about it, talk it over with Jesus, and see if that's the path you want to go down, because if you rattle the wrong person at the right time, you could be escorted out. They chose not to pass that literature around. Good thing. Because the rules were white nationalist anti-Semites were not supposed to be allowed to speak. That's what the GOP put out, and then reversed himself inside of the convention because that very candidate had over 200 votes to speak. So you let a Republican declared, socialist announced, so-called war vet speak at a convention because he got 200 votes that you initially banned for his anti-Semitic, racist views. Well, not racist, anti-Semitic, white supremacist, maybe nationalistic views. You let him speak, but you denied that opportunity to a 15-year retired, honorably retired Army veteran. Okay. Well, you didn't make the 200-point count. Okay. Go into the voting process, you have rules, but you alter the rules in the middle of voting, midstream of voting. Suddenly we have a 2% rule where you can ask for a recount that I don't even think was in the rules in the first place, but now we got them in the rules in the middle of the count. It should have ended right there, but that's a Carl DeMaio enhanced person and a Steve Hilton push person, and we got a rule recount, and that person lost by 5 votes, and so did the other treasurer who lost 5 more percentage points to the first person that now gets the endorsement. My. And then we do some more rules changing, and then lo and behold, I'm almost embarrassed to say, but I will say this preliminary, because Americans have a short memory span. The Californian Republican Assembly has endorsed Chad Bianco. No denying that. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, I'm not arguing the point. I'm making a point. Chad Bianco has been endorsed publicly by the CRA. They made the pronouncement. Ask Mr. Bricky. Isn't he a chapter president somewhere? Isn't he the president of? They endorsed Chad Bianco. Now, up until that point, many CRA clubs were fielding candidates to feel them out, ask them questions, determine whether or not they wanted to. Some chose not to endorse. Some chose to endorse. Super early. Before stuff came out. And now they're stuck with their decision. And the CRA cemented their decision when they said they wanted to go with Chad Bianco. Now, I'm not too sure on bylaws because it sounds like everybody has a different set of bylaws from one county to another. But generally, once the CRA has made an endorsement, all the CRA groups are supposed to be closed off from hosting candidates. So-called written in the bylaws. Can't entertain you because they've already picked. Are the ones who have not made an endorsement eligible and free to pick their own choice? Well, that would be an interesting trick because the CRA as a whole has endorsed Chad Bianco. So, Mr. Carl Bricky, maybe you can explain this for us laymen. Maybe you can explain this for some people maybe who didn't get that announcement. This is why people look at this as a clusterfuck. Russell Gray is the president of the California Republicans Assembly Group in Sacramento, California, the group that I'm in. It's a CRA group of Sacramento. If you've already endorsed Chad Bianco, why would Mr. Gray stand up and propose a rule change to suspend the rules on the delegation appointments and wish to appoint both Hilton and Bianco as a California GOP pick? That didn't make no sense. Because you're required, I thought, to go with the CRA choice of Chad Bianco, not Steve Hilton. And you stood up to make that announcement. That's kind of embarrassing for me, and I was one of those ones yelling no, but I had to be a little refrained because you don't want to step on those toes that could end up getting you thrown out of the process. Did I yell no? Hell yes, I yelled no. Did I think it was a stupid decision to make? Yes, I did, especially with the excuse given. Because if we don't pick someone, the media is going to run with this, that we are discombobulated, and we worry about how we'll look in the media. Jesus Christ, sir, are you more concerned about what the media feels about the Republican Party than how you represent the people of California, especially its citizens? Let me rephrase that. Are you more worried about the outlook that the media has on us than you are the citizens of this state? Because if you are, that's embarrassing. Maybe you shouldn't be there. Maybe you might want to rethink your views on why we have the problems that we have in this state. The media is going to say what they say regardless. The media is going to blank out better candidates because they already got the establishment picks, if they're not bought and paid for, on who to line up for the fall. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a small clog in the machine. You stood up and made that statement. You stood up seemingly like you were defying the pick of the CRA to endorse or include to endorse Steve Hilton through the GOP. But you've already endorsed Chad Bianco, which excluded Steve Hilton. So I'm kind of confused on what you were trying to do other than to make yourself look good for the cameras. We already have the after effects. David Serpa lost his mind, called everybody a whore, red light whore, a bitch, beta, whatever else he wanted to call people. Funny part about that is he seemed to go off on the entirety of the GOP in California state, up to and including his girl, Corinne Rankin. The socialist candidate lost his mind because Carl DeMaio's pick beat him in an endorsement shot. Hey, you're on the ballot. Take your participation trophy, go home, enjoy the moment. You're on the ballot. Do what you do. But you went personal and attacked everybody. Now, this is just my opinion. You take it for what it's worth. But personally, I think you've effed yourself for any further political adventures for life with your statements on the X platform. So you might want to consider running your little happy ass back through what you've said and maybe start hitting that delete button before somebody saves embarrassing moments about you, the socialist candidate. Just a suggestion, but don't pay attention to me because you know what you're doing. So you say. Steve Hilton, I think, injured himself further. He got embarrassed in the convention. He breezed in with money, power, and influence and thought he was going to get the trophy because he got the endorsement from the president the week before this convention kicked off. It was expected. Let me give you a little hint, Steve. Maybe you should go back in your history books, have your surrogates do a little research to find out what Leo Naranjo was saying when he entered this race and he made his opening statements. Be honest, be forthright, be truthful, be blunt, plain, and direct with the people that you're speaking with. You're there to win votes, not expect them. You're there to earn the confidence of you being a candidate, not expect it. You're there to earn the trust of the voters to have enough faith in you to vote for you. You can't purchase that, but you're doing a damn good job trying. And that's why you got embarrassed at the convention 3 times. You got rejected. I hear that little after party, you made a comment to somebody that said, basically, I didn't get this room, so I didn't have the party atmosphere to entertain in it. Was that true? I didn't know because I didn't bother to go down to your event, nor did Mr. Bianco's. Why would I? I'm not there to celebrate with my opponents. We're still in the middle of the game. So I heard your event didn't kick off very well. Let's go back and look at Miss Laura Logan and Kim Yeater's event. Room full of candidates. Who was speaking to you? Nobody. And you looked uncomfortable being in that green room. Take that event, move it to this event. Same thing if what was said was true about your party and your room. Chad had it going on. He got the Latina thing. He got the Hispanic thing. People are telling me Chad got the Hispanic vote all sewed up. Chad's pushing amnesty and pathways to citizenship, which is along the same path. What the hell you think the Hispanics are going to do? Not cheer him on? They love the guy right now if that's what he can do for them. Yeah, race is heating up. So many things can happen in a day. Eric Swalwell, gone in a day. Woohoo! That was a flash. Still don't have cuffs on his ass because the word rape's being used, but he's getting there. Let's see if it happens. Not sure how long people have to take in order to charge him or to arrest him or to give him the perp walk, especially with the word rape used. Right behind him, a Republican, same problem. Poof, gone. Well, I'm not going to say the same problem. His girlfriend / tryst person killed themselves. Horrible, because she set herself on fire. Same problem, different individual. Ugly. It's point blank. Look in the news. That's what they're talking about. 2 people knocked out of Congress. Poof. Oh my. Folks want to say that Bianco won the popular vote. You didn't win a popular vote, sir. You got a lot of votes from people there. Whether they voted for you or against Hilton, yet to be seen. We'll figure it out. But you got a trophy just like I got a trophy. Participation trophy. You showed up at the convention. I got the same little room key with Corinne Rankin's name on it that you got. Mine was a hell of a lot cheaper than yours. But at the end of the day, I don't care what you or your surrogates are saying, we both lost an endorsement. That's called losing. You took it better than Hilton. But then again, you didn't get endorsed by the president, so you got slapped a 4th time by the party, trying to get a 5th time. You reacted a little better than Steve. I knew you were going to be butthurt, but you would recover quickly because you never had the presidential endorsement, so there was no expectation other than I think you had momentum to pick it up this time around, but that endorsement by Trump pooched the deal for you. You would have cemented some things, but it didn't happen. Maybe Trump knew that. Maybe Trump doesn't want you to be the California governor. Maybe the Republican Party at the national level thinks that you're a problem for them in California. Why else would they not be backing you if you're so great as a sheriff? Let me drop this little tidbit on you for those who don't understand what that means. You went from and I'm rounding up to make it look better, but let's take it at the Kim Yeater explanation of points of order. I'm going to say $300 million budget. Kim Yeater said somewhere around a $250 million budget is what you had starting off as a sheriff. What you have is $1.2 billion budget, and you are 50th place in resolving crime in your county. Your costs have gone up tremendously, and your performance has gone down just as fast, if not faster. That, to me, is the people of Riverside paying for a Praetorian Guard that looks pretty in uniform and doesn't do shit anything else. Those are my words, not theirs. But those numbers speak for themselves. How can you be the bottom of the barrel on solving crimes when you have a $1.2 billion budget that you've overseen dramatically surge in cost, and then have the audacity to run around here in the state to say you're a conservative, fiscally sound? Of course the police departments are championing you right now, and all the sheriff departments are championing you. They're looking for the same bubble of explosion for them. And I went and crunched those numbers, sir. That would be a $63 billion hit to our budget just to bring all of the counties to your level of funding. 1.2 billion times 58. Do the math, folks. It ain't pretty. And while you're still running around trying to be a governor, you got 2 years left on your contract with another 20% for both of those years combined. That puts you at $750,000 of income. Which is why at the Yorba Linda thing with the Pat Nixon group and Steve Hilton on the stage, my statement was on how to deal with pension problems is declare a fiscal emergency. We need to relook at a lot of these freaking salaries throughout this state. Why are we paying people in government millions of dollars in salaries? To do what? The president doesn't even get $1 million salary, and he's far more important and has more stuff on his plate than any director here in this state has at all. Not even in the same ballpark. Steve Hilton's solution is to violate the Constitution, rewrite it, and let us declare bankruptcy. It's a business decision. Just like changing shoes. Tiffany Henyard, remember her? That's that little super mayor out of Dalton, Illinois, the one that absconded with all the money from not only a township, but a couple of communities in the area. She's now running for a position in Georgia, Fulton, I think it is, as a Republican. Why is that woman not in jail behind bars? But now she's a Republican, trying to run for Republican office. And there was a poster that made a comment about that. And it was very telling because I aptly said that you've just described the Republican Party in California. And the comment was along these lines. Democrats are not able to run in their own race, so they keep flipping into the Republican side to try and win. Problem is they've never won as a Democrat. They've never given up their democratic ways or their democratic viewpoints. They just altered the letter by their name. People like to boast that California is a red state. Is it? Based on whose presumption? You have more conservatives in this state than we do the others? Where? You barely got 20 people in the legislative office. That's why they have a supermajority in the state capital, Sacramento, where I'm from. If we're that good, why the hell do we have so few representatives in office? Are they that bad? Do you not have people good in your districts that can run for assembly that could matter? Are you sure that everybody that you claim is a Republican is really a Republican and not just some Democrat that flipped a letter by their name? Because that's what it's looking like. Another gentleman posted back. He's tired of watching decent people get excoriated while we keep picking the losers. Again, another person that directly highlighted the problems in California. Mark Wright, I keep coming back to him, Placer County Chair, Central Committee member. These two gentlemen, Hilton and Bianco, were not picked to win. They were picked to sell tickets for the Central Committees, and they've done a good job. Except now they're in the middle of a race that they can't either one back out of. Too late, we're stuck. Problems and all, because nobody vetted them. Nobody put them up for debates. Nobody allowed challenges from other candidates to highlight good, bad, or indifferent. You hear this crap online now, drop out of the race because you'll split the vote. Sorry, that's already going to happen. You got 63 candidates on the freaking roster right now. And just to let you people that are arrogant and stupid enough to keep saying that, only 12 of them are Republicans. 23 are Dems, 23 are no party. Talk to them. Don't talk to me. One plus one equals two, and numbers don't lie as long as you use them correctly. But you can make numbers say what you want them to say. Look at Steve Hilton. He keeps pumping himself up in the roster as if he's doing great in the polls. Again, there goes that little funny game, polls. If you're paying for the poll's going to say whatever the hell you want to say. Hell, I'll put one up here by tomorrow, if not tonight. Polls. Leo, you don't place anywhere in the polls. Hey, you know what? In 2016, Hillary Clinton was not supposed to lose, according to the polls. What happened? In 2020, according to the polls, Donald Trump was not supposed to lose. What happened? Don't tell me about cheating or anything else. Remember, this is about polls. We're not talking about voting or cheating. That's a condition you inserted into the conversation. As they said in the Mel Gibson movie, Braveheart, stick with the fucking question. Polls are what they are. If this is just about money, let me bring you to a reality some of you don't want to hear. If it's only about money, Tom Steyer has already won. Period. I don't care how fruity he is. He's already won. Because it's only about money. Now insert the excuses. So if it's about platform, Tom Steyer's down. That brings Katie Porter up. Hell, maybe even Becerra's coming up, listening to the rhetoric. What does that do for our two people? You're stuck. Pro-abortionist Hilton, bankrupt Hilton, whetstone Hilton, Islamic embraced Hilton, transgender transitioning of children Hilton. Oh, you didn't know about all that because nobody bothered to look. He wasn't looking to be a candidate. He was looking to sell tickets. He just happened to be on the candidate trail. Now you got the ugliness in front of you. Well, damn, I thought I was hiring Bozo the Clown. I didn't know his ass was Lacey or Gacy or Jeffrey Dahmer. Oh my God, what have we done? Got a sheriff. Didn't know he was an oath keeper. Now he's embraced oath keeping because they keep oaths. He's fully functional, 1,000% behind Trump. He's not for amnesty when he was, but he got caught. Now he's only against pathways towards citizenship, which is the same freaking thing, Chad. Call it what you want. I didn't kneel to BLM, but everybody sees you kneeling in front of BLM. I was praying, but we didn't hear one utterance of Jesus in the name of amen. We didn't see any of that. You knelt to the mob. You knelt to the Hispanics when you tried to do the amnesty stunt and you got caught at it. You knelt to the trans people because you put a trans liaison in your department. Another cost that's not needed. I don't see African American or any other nationality there. You put in somebody that has a sexual connotation as a trans position, a liaison officer. There must be something illegal about what you did. But it's your department. That's why you got less than 13% of the people of Riverside County to vote for you. And let us not forget about that little problem that just happened in Hemet, which I think is in Riverside County too. They found a sex trafficking ring that's been operating for years. Well, that one doesn't look good. Well, that goes with your $1.2 million budget. and you're barely 8% solved crime rate. Did you know about it? Did you even understand that it was even going on? That gentleman dying in your jail for 2 days, lack of medical attention. I'm sorry, that's fact, dude. You didn't aid a person in distress, period. Who's in charge of that jail? You. I don't give a damn what those deputies did or didn't do. It was under your leadership. Are they still employed? Haven't heard anything about that. They should have been fired immediately. And some of their supervisors should have went with them. Training should have commenced immediately to rectify that problem. But we haven't heard of that. We only know that Chad doesn't like to hear dissent when he goes to county council meetings because as far as he's concerned, everybody's a scumbag that's after him. Looking at a lizard run across my back porch here. Yeah, I've seen you in action on your county council meetings. You look very upset when people start challenging you, especially on the deaths in your jails. So now the surrogates are coming out and they're starting to make noise in my general direction for whatever godly reason that I know of, that they're making the noise towards me, which is hella humorous because here's what's happening, folks. They're attacking Van Miller. But they're attacking him for what he says about Bianco, and they throw my name into it because sometimes I support Van Miller when he attacks Bianco. Kind of shy away when he goes a little bit pro-Hilton, but that's a different matter. I get it. But they want to drag me into that conversation. For what? Vincent Romero, you thought you were embarrassing me at the convention with your loud, Leo, yeah, Leo. Thank you for the plug, sir. That's not going to embarrass me at all. Could have gotten your ass thrown out or talked to about being a little bit too vociferous in the halls. That's what you should have had happen to you, but I digress. So you trying to bring me into a concept of what Van Miller's talking about, throwing the, let us pray. This is not about the two gentlemen there. It's not about Steve and it's not about Chad. Senor, we have to come together to make a proper and loyal subjects in the state of California because I came here poor and I know you're poor and we're both poor. And why am I speaking like I am? Because I have the right to do so based on my heritage, which I don't believe you think I have. Because I look white, not Hispanic. Fooled you. I can talk massive shit about Hispanics because I are one. Yeah, my family generations goes back into the Mexican army that fought against America. So yeah, I can pull some of that nonsense and get away with it. También me habla. Si quiero hablar, mucho gusto. Okay. Might be a little rusty, but I catch up really quick. You're coming at me with, we have to make peace to do what? Elect who? Smells like you're on the Hilton side, but then you're not because you're running with the treasurer that got embarrassed at the convention and lost his vote to a Carl DeMaio pick. Ooh, that was embarrassing. And then your boy went off and lost his damn mind. Ooh, that was embarrassing too. And you thought you were being funny in the convention hallways, yelling my name out. Ooh, that's 3. Keep it moving, sir. Keep it moving. You got on the side that you're on the side with, and you're on that boat to wherever that destination takes you. Right now, it's to the shitter. Good luck. Buena suerte, señor. Vaya con Dios. But you zapping Van Miller to get to me? Must be making somebody a little nervous. Must be scoring some points that are starting to hurt somebody somewhere. Must be trying to figure out, in the words of my famous little joke with Steve Hilton, how the fuck are we going to get that little bastard with the glasses off of my ass? He's going to cost me. He's not helping my situation. Well, I took an oath for this office, just as well as taking an oath to enlist in the service. Go back and look at what the oath said. Figure out. So, with that being said, buenas noches. Hasta luego. Buena suerte. Vayas con Dios. Sálgate de aquí. No me digas que quiere hacer, que no quiere hacer. Si pudiste a los todos juntos for the Republic, para la República, para los freedoms, para esto, para este. Yeah, you can go ahead and have a nice day with all that noise. Do you, and I'll do me. Because we had an opportunity to speak nearly a year ago, and you bypassed it. What I've seen in your activities since a year ago tells me a lot. Probably God moved, and that's why we haven't spoken. And I can understand why. Mucho gusto, pero es todo. You guys have a great afternoon. My name is Leo Naranjo IV, candidate for governor in the 2026 election. Never count people out of a race that's still running. In spite of the establishment, in spite of the party, in spite of the media, in spite of everybody doing their best to jump on people's back and keep them down, the race is not over with until the race is over with. Some of you don't even understand what that concept means. We'll find out at the end of the voting. That's when the race is over with. But you trying to interfere with the process at this point in time, listen, we're on the ballot. So am I. I might not get the numbers I would like to see. That's fine. I might not get the numbers you expect. That's fine too. But what I have done is I got on the ballot. Your guy got on the ballot for a different race. That's the first victory amongst many I've already scored on higher than thou people in front of me. What I haven't done right now that I'm just now coming up to bring to mind is look at our current lieutenant governor giving a news report of her giving praise or something like that to the Hungarian president that just got his ass thrown out of office. Why would our lieutenant governor be in Hungary congratulating a president that just got removed from his seat because he wasn't all that in a bag of chitlins? Eleni, you can go to Hungary and praise their election process. You can go and do whatever it is you were doing over there in the country of Hungary. Former bloc of the Soviet Union, by the way. Been there. Little sliver. Visited. Nice place. Sweet people. For the little bit that I saw. You can go all the way over there and do that. But when Dahlia Coleman was injured, you couldn't do shit for her. When the little girl Cruz, Aria Cruz, was injured, you couldn't do shit for her. When the problems of what happened on October the 7th took place in Israel, you couldn't do shit for them. Oh, you ran across the tarmac like your pants were on fire to go and kiss the ring of Kamala Harris. You did that. But other than that, you couldn't do shit for anybody else in this country, much less this state. Where does my memory go? Do y'all remember Reedley, California? I haven't forgotten about them. And if I get that opportunity to be elected to be governor of this state, we're going to find out who the hell allowed that center to operate in the middle of California. I'm talking about that same dirty little center that they found in Las Vegas that everybody oohed and awed over when it happened here earlier. I haven't forgotten about that. Somebody got away with some stuff there that we need to fix. That's one of the things we need to fix. So yeah, a lot of things I remember, and some of them need to get corrected, and that'll take place if there's an election. If not, well, then they fade in the history books, no big deal. It's what the voters want. So I'm on my way. You guys have a good day. God bless you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Leo Naranjo IV, candidate for governor. You can find me, Leo Naranjo 4, number 4, gov.com. Check me out, look me up, follow these videos, like them, subscribe, support, pass them along. Oh, by the way, Steve Hilton got endorsed by President Trump. Trump is Hilton, Hilton is Trump. Hail the king in the golden showers, Lord Hilton is coming. It's so rude. But you get my drift, and I got that out the way. Thank you very much. You have a great afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.